Voters in the United States are using a spate of state primaries in the run-up to November's midterm elections to give us fresh clues about the political mood, almost 2 years into Donald Trump's second term. In particular, it is a test for the Democratic Party. How can the Democrats best galvanize voters to overturn Republican majorities in both chambers of the U.S. Congress? Progressive candidate Abdul El-Sayed won Michigan's Democratic Senate primary campaign on a radical platform calling for universal state-backed health care and rooting corporate money out of politics. El-Sayed overcame a moderate rival who'd received tens of millions of dollars of support from the Democratic Party establishment. Leftist Democrats are hoping for primary wins tomorrow in the Minnesota Senate race and the governor's race in Wisconsin, hugely significant swing states in every U.S. election cycle. So let us get the view on all of this from Ed Rendell, a Democratic Party stalwart, a former Democratic governor of the state of Pennsylvania. Ed Rendell, welcome to the Times at One.
Nice to be with you.
It's great to have you. Now, look, does the spate of results that have already come in from key states like Michigan suggest that the winning formula for the Democrats is to move left?
No, I would suggest that that's still, book is still open on that. First of all, in America, you have to win two elections. You have to win the primary and you have to win the general. Now, there have been some candidates who proved attractive in the primary. They new candidates without a significant background and haven't been part of the establishment who won some victories. And that's great. They won it in the primary. But can they sustain that in the general when you have more than just your base voter?
Are you suggesting, because a lot of noise has been made by Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan, who is now going to be the party's candidate in the Senate race in November, are you saying that you don't believe he can win with his platform, which is all about universal health care, about rooting out corporate money, and it has to be said also getting much tougher on Israel? Are you saying that kind of messaging is not going to work in a statewide race?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying it depends on the individual race. I mean, we're still candidate-driven in American elections, especially for Senate and governor and the like. We're very much candidate-focused. Like, for example, take me. I won, I was a two-term mayor of Philadelphia, two-term district attorney of Philadelphia, and two-term governor of Pennsylvania. I won my first election by 10 points, and then I won re-election in 2006 by 20 and a half points. So you pretty good candidate. So what would you identify me as? Moderate? Left of center?
Yeah, I lived in the U.S. When you were in your political prime, if I can put it that way, and I would describe you as a very successful mainstream Democrat. But if you look at some of the candidates that the party is now putting forward, or at least want to be put forward in key races, and I'm now looking at the governor's race in Wisconsin, where Francesca Hong, who may well win the race for the party, she describes herself as a Democratic socialist. She is very explicitly left-wing. And I'm just still not clear whether you are saying to your party, if you go down that route, you won't win middle ground voters. Is that what you're saying or not?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I mean, we've got two members of our caucus are Democrat socialists, Bernie Sanders and the other senator from Maine. So they're, and again, I think that the putting people in categories, that's a game that we in the left play, and we in the political business play. But the average voter doesn't look at Ed Rendell and say, well, he's a conservative or he's a moderate. Because there are some things in my belief system that would be considered very much progressive. I am for universal health care. I think we can do it, or we have to do it. We should certainly have guaranteed health care for anybody who wants to enter into the system. and that should be no ifs and buts about it. But in the richest country of the world, we got to afford health care for it.
You referenced Bernie Sanders there, and of course the thing about Bernie Sanders was he was very popular with a real significant element within the Democratic Party, but he never ever won the nomination to be the presidential candidate. One big question underpinning what we're talking about, that is the future direction of the Democratic Party, is whether the party will ever embrace as a presidential candidate somebody, for example, like Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, who AOC, who is seen as a socialist, but is also hugely popular with particularly young Democrats. Could she, in your view, ever be a credible presidential candidate for the Democratic Party?
Let me ask you a question. Did you see her on Sunday? I think it was on NBC.
Yeah, one of the talk shows.
One of the talk shows. She sounded very much like me. She sounded very much like a left of center, moderate or progressive, not any wild-eyed progressive who wants to change the world. Because what happens in politics is you get into politics as a young person and you want to change the world, you want to change everything. And you're not going to stop until you've changed everything.
Yeah, but the point, Mr. Rendell, is that Donald Trump and some of his MAGA allies, they're going to portray people like AOC and others on the progressive left as out-and-out communists. And they say that they are anti-American and they threaten America. That's the messaging you're going to get from your opponents.
Well, I hope they do, because they will get baffled if they do that. Because the American people are smarter than that. We're smarter than to be fooled by men, by names and categories. I mean, if you listen to that interview, and it was about a 20-minute interview with Andrea Ocasio, if you listen to it, you would say she's a moderate left of center Democrat with maybe one or two views. But I don't think being for universal health care makes you a wild-eyed liberal or a progressive anymore. I think that's the mainstream where every American, Republican or Democrat, ought to be. How we can be giving tax breaks to the richest Americans, massive tax cuts, and we don't have enough money to give health care to our citizens. It's great.
Well, we shall read the runes of the next set of primaries, which take place over the next 24 hours, and we'll see how those results shape up. But Ed Rendell, former governor of Pennsylvania, thank you very much indeed for joining us on The Times at 1.